Welcome to Biztech's Community Conversation Show, the show where we engage community leaders to understand and highlight issues facing the broader community. Now, there are many of us who want to give to worthy causes, but just don't know how. There are many causes that need funding, but have difficulty finding donors. GIVE.asia is an online crowdfunding platform for giving and helps to bridge the gap. Now, Pong Yu Ming is the co-founder and COO of GIVE.asia. Now, he helps us to understand how we can make a difference by using online giving platforms. Yu Ming, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for inviting us to the show.
Hey, Yu Ming, let's start by giving us an overview of what GIVE.asia does.
All right. GIVE.asia is a website. You can access it on www.GIVE.asia. Essentially, it's a platform for donors to find beneficiaries. So if you're a charity and you have a social mission and you would like to reach out to more online donors, you can use GIVE.asia. If you are a person who's going through a tough time, for example, you have an illness and you're in a hospital, but you can't get the treatment that you want because you can't afford it, you can also come to GIVE.asia to share your story. And we have a large community of kind people who will be willing to lend a hand during these tough times.
Okay, tell us about your entrepreneurship journey and what inspired you to start GIVE.asia.
So GIVE.asia started in 2009, so that's almost like 12 years ago. Back then, we were still pretty young kids, still in university, a bunch of friends together, pretty idealistic. We had a couple of fun times starting different startup ideas, trying them, failing them. And we were kind of bouncing around the idea of why do you need to wait till you're old and rich before you can actually do good? Because that's the normal sentiment, right?
Yeah.
And we were trying to recollect our memories of how the school got us to kind of do good. It was typically just holding a tin can in the middle of the street, begging for spare change and coins. And we didn't really feel like that was a very fun thing to do. And we didn't really feel like it made any difference.
You know, Yu Ming, when I was in junior college in Singapore, I think it was either junior college or secondary school, I did fundraising in Orchard Road. So I know what it's like to ask for and giving the sticker, right?
Yes. Fundraising for charity wasn't fun at all, right? And that was the basic idea. We just wanted to figure out, if we wanted to keep helping people moving forward, we kind of need to help charities to kind of reach out to a new audience, right? A new audience who's on the internet, who's more digitally friendly. And when we talk to different nonprofits, their main challenge was the fact that they didn't have any money to invest into digitizing the charity aspect. And they didn't really have any talent as well to kind of help them bridge the gap. So we were just a bunch of friends who have a bit of free time, a bit idealistic, and we realized that, we could actually build a free platform and kind of give it out to the different nonprofits, kind of help them kind of get on board, move their donors online, and maybe provide a better engagement model as well.
Okay, could you walk us through some of the key challenges that you're addressing in philanthropy? Because obviously you mentioned some of them already, which is basically lack of talent in the nonprofit space, also the challenges in terms of technology. But on the donor side as well, you are addressing some challenges, aren't you?
Yeah. So all these years when we were in it, we were very focused on a simple idea, right? If we wanted people to help strangers, we needed to build trust. So we are very much a platform of trust. And how can we actually increase the trust over time? There are a couple of questions that majority of donors will be thinking about, which is, as a platform, do you take fees? Because if there's a middleman who's profiting from charities, it doesn't feel very right.
Yes, and that's the traditional business model, even for online giving platforms.
Yes.
The platform takes a cut, which allows it then to survive.
Yes.
And profit.
Exactly. So majority of platforms have a mandatory administration fee. In our case, we wanted to be more aligned with the giving habit. So we have a 0% fee model, and we believe that your donations, 100% of that should go to help the people in need. And the way we maintain a sustainability is that we depend also on the generosity of donors. So donors help us keep going, and we help donors send 100% of their money to the people who need help. So that's the basic idea. So we want to build trust by making sure that we don't take any administration fees.
So in other words, and correct me if I'm wrong, so donors help to fund you. Do you get grants from the government and things like that because you basically do this for free?
I think the Singapore government and generally a couple of corporates have been very kind in terms of sponsoring and kind of helping us further our agenda.
Okay.
But we have been pretty lucky that the generosity of our community has kind of kept us going. We're pretty lean as an organization. Many of us are actually volunteers as well. So this kind of keep things very low cost, very efficient, and everyone that's working on it is mainly doing it because we kind of believe in the mission that we have, which is trying to help more people be part of this giving lifestyle.
Yu Ming, let's talk again, drill down further in terms of corporate governance.
Yep.
So there's no fees charged,
Yep.
but as a donor, whether I'm a corporate donor or whether I'm an individual, corporate governance is something I'm just the top of mind.
Yep.
What are the measures that you have in place to ensure, for example, so on your side, there's governance, you've mentioned that, but how about on the projects themselves? How do you make sure that they're spent wisely? How do you verify them?
All right. There's a number one question as well, which is like, if I'm giving my money, how do I know if the person receiving the money is someone I can trust, right? So on GIVE.asia, we're quite strict in terms of who we help. And there are typically two main buckets of beneficiaries, you can think of them. So the first one is more traditional, which is I'm a registered charity organization. I'm recognized by the local government bodies. I have proper due diligence, proper boards. And there are big brands like Singapore Red Cross. There are big brands like WWF. The big brands like Yayasan Chowkin in Malaysia, for example. So they've been around, they've been reputable, they've been doing the good work on the ground for many years. So that's the first bucket, which is list of verified charities. But we also realize that there are a lot of people who seek help, who kind of fallen through the cracks in terms of society. They don't fit into any particular charitable models. These are usually the case of migrant workers or people who are refugees. And they also go through tough times and they might not be an organization that can help them. In those cases, we have kind of set up a verification process. So let's take a specific example. If you are a foreign worker in Singapore and you have a workplace accident and you needed to get emergency treatment at a local hospital. In those cases, because we have over the years built up relationship with the local hospital, we'll be able to verify that you are indeed a person of need, you are indeed in that hospital, and any funds that are being raised, we pass it directly to the hospital, and the hospital will use it to offset the bills. So there isn't any potential in between for any mismanagement of funds because we work directly with the end beneficiary.
Okay, and that's a very comforting thought. What is, however, your donor and project profile and your geographical spread of your platform?
I think GIVEasia started to kind of scratch our own itch. So when we started, we were in the early 20s. And we were very much focused on people in the early 20s trying to get, because we only understood them as donors, right? Now it's been about 12 years, so we're in the mid 30s. So the donor profile for GIVEasia community has kind of been roughly around the 30 to 40-year-old range. Okay. But more and more, we realize that the younger generation are also getting a bit more active and a bit more vocal. They have kind of started to kind of push forward in terms of movements and trying to rally people around social causes to create long-term lasting impacts.
Okay, and one of the things is also the fact that I think corporates are now also looking at different ways to engage. Traditionally, CSR meant, let me do a project and then it's a one-time thing and it's done. Yep. Today, corporates are looking at more sustainable projects over the long haul. And I suppose that's where people like you come in.
Yeah. So we've been pretty fortunate as well to work with different companies in the region who have kind of shared their challenges. A lot of companies, like you mentioned today, want to be more giving in nature. They actually want to make a difference in terms of society. The number one challenge has always been, how do I engage my employees, my stakeholders, my shareholders to be part of the change that they want to see? One thing that we have done, like for example, with Deutsche Bank or DBS Bank, or even some of the bigger organizations, is we have helped them create a bit of an engagement plan to help them launch regional campaigns that can involve the different officers in different countries to kind of rally them around a common goal, create a little bit of competition, create a little bit of fun, and at the same time, they achieve something meaningful that they can celebrate together with their employees and with their different stakeholders in the market. Yeah.
And so so in other words, the whole shape of giving and CSR is really changing, and it's changed over the last 12 years that you've been in business.
Definitely. Yeah, it's changed a lot, especially during this COVID period where everyone has kind of switched from volunteering on the ground to trying to find a way to engage people digitally across the region. Yeah, so we see a lot of companies launching campaigns online, rallying their communities, rallying their employees to kind of give together with a company matching or the company leading. Yeah.
Could you give us, because that's a very interesting thing, and perhaps we could educate companies who are looking to do things like that.
Yeah.
Could you give us an idea of, and then you use some large names like DBS and Deutsche Bank.
Yeah.
Could we give us an overview of how one of these companies has very successfully done something very interesting and something that's really regional?
All right. I guess one example we can take is probably Deutsche Bank during the COVID period. They kind of rallied the regional offices all across Asia. So because the COVID help was very much focused on the local community needs, it really depended on what each country needed at that point of time. So what Deutsche Bank did with us was kind of partner up to identify a list of organizations that we partner with, and the list of organizations that they know were doing good work on the ground, but didn't have any digital presence. So we worked together to kind of onboard the charities to make sure they're digitally savvy. Then we launched campaigns that were targeted to engage each regional office and each region's independent customer base and suppliers to participate together. So you can think about Japan having its own list of organizations, Korea having its own list of organizations, you can have Singapore having its own list of organizations. And then the choice of who to give and how to give is being passed on to the employees and the shareholders and the stakeholders in the community. Then at the end of the day, Deutsche Bank will do a matching grant, for example, to kind of double or triple the impact.
Okay, so I can just visualize the impact that's had on the ground, because again, what Deutsche Bank was able to do is really use you as an amplification platform, and also then to engage all their various stakeholders across the region. They also then enabled you, because through you, obviously, they had boots on the ground very quickly.
Yeah. So I think a lot of regional companies or even local companies, they always have this desire of helping the local community. But something that's been holding them back is really trying to find a platform that is free to use. Some giving platforms can be pretty expensive to get started.
Yeah.
And that's one of the blockers that we try to remove. We try to tell them that it's free to start. Because oftentimes you're not sure if you're going to be successful the first time. But if you keep doing it, typically it gets better and better every year.
Yeah, it's experience curve effects, right? You've just got to start with a small project, experiments, tweak it, and then scale it up.
Yes. So what we try to do is kind of minimize the risk a little bit for them who's trying to become a bit of an evangelist, promoting it within the organization, not costing the company anything, giving them a playbook in terms of how to get started, give them examples where they can copy and reference, so that they have a way to kind of build up momentum quickly and success along the way, so they can kind of convince upper management and the rest of the regional office to play a part as well.
You mean you're based in Singapore? Obviously, when you engage companies like Deutsche Bank and also DBS, they have regional footprints.
Yep.
One of the things which I looked at when I looked at your platform is many of these the opportunities and funding or donors could actually come from across ASEAN.
Yes.
Now, how do you have plans then to engage, for example, corporations in Thailand, in Indonesia, Malaysia, and so forth, with some of their local projects, for example?
Yeah, I would say that when we started off, our idea was that we wanted more people to be part of the giving movement itself. And companies and corporates across the region definitely have a very strong power in terms of change, right? Because you have a lot of employees and you have a lot of leverage on the ground as well. Whenever there's any organizations that have a plan of action or they have a desire to change, we love to get in touch with them and kind of see how we can collaborate together to kind of make it happen.
Okay, so let me put this to you now, Yu Ming.
Yeah.
I'm a corporation. I'm a large corporation in Indonesia. I want to do good.
Yeah.
And I want for it to be transparent with all the right corporate governance. How do I work with you? What do I need to do?
The two very easy ways to get in touch with us. The first is just going to our website. On the top navigation bar, there's a button that says fundraise. When you start a fundraising page, it probably takes about 1 to 3 minutes. What happens after that, we'll have outreach team get in touch with you, kind of help you get set up, kind of ask in terms of how we can help amplify it. So that's the easy way. Anyone can go to the website, click the fundraise button, and we'll get in touch with you. If you're a big corporate and you like to kind of bounce ideas around a little bit, what you can do is also kind of drop us an email, kind of reach out to us in terms of help desk at GIVE.asia or support at GIVE.asia. Drop us an email and we'll have our corporate team kind of get in touch and also kind of advise what is possible and what's not possible.
Okay, and how about me as an individual? I'm based in Malaysia. How do I get involved in terms of being a donor?
Yeah, we definitely need more givers in this world. There are two ways that we ask every individual to help out. If you have a little bit of spare money, check out our website, www.give.asia. There are a lot of people and a lot of charities who need help at this moment. And if you can spare some change, that'd be great. But a bigger part of change is actually just sharing it, telling other people that they can also be part of the solution. If you know friends or families who are interested in this space, just introduce them to GIVE.asia and kind of help us work on it together. Yeah.
Now, Yu Ming, final question. Any last final thoughts that you'd like to share with us before we end this conversation?
I would say probably that GIVE.asia is very much a grassroots movement. It was started by a bunch of friends together, but we only got to where we were, thankfully, because there were a lot of kind people who kind of gave us ideas and help along the way. So it's very much a movement that's driven by the community behind it. And we welcome anyone who want to be part of this community to take us to the next level or kind of push us in the right direction and giving us ideas. So just feel free. We're very much an open platform. We want to be trustworthy. At any point of time, if you have any questions, just reach out, kind of ask us tough questions so that we can improve the way that we do things. Yeah.
Yu Ming, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show. It's been a fascinating conversation.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Now, I'm Brian Fernandez, and I've been speaking to Pong Yu Ming, the co-founder and COO of GIVE.asia on Biztech's Community Conversation Show. This video will be on our Facebook and LinkedIn sites, as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thanks a lot for tuning in.